New photographers often ask me how I got my photography business started or if I have any advice. I started my business 14 years ago, so the things that I did back then, of course, they're going to be a little different today. So in this video, I'm going to discuss some of the things I would do if I was starting a photography business in 2025. First, we're going to talk about cameras. I can't tell you how many times I've been asked, what camera should somebody purchase? That is a very difficult question to answer. So much goes into your camera purchase, not just the cost or the brand. What type of photography are you going to be doing? Because if you want to photograph NASCAR, I'm going to recommend a different camera than if you're just interested in taking portraits. I will say, don't buy a brand new camera. Definitely go get something used. If you get a camera that was made in the last, I don't know, 7, 8 years, that is going to be all you need, especially if you're just looking to start taking portraits. You don't need to go get the newest camera. You don't need to pick up a $3,000 or $4,000 camera. Get something used, and the money that you have left over, you can put that into lenses. Look at it this way. You date the camera body, you marry the lenses. For example, I use Sony and they use an E-mount system. So if you buy an E-mount lens, doesn't matter whether you start out with, an APS-C camera and upgrade later to a full frame, the lenses are gonna work all across the board. So if you invest in those lenses and take care of them, it doesn't matter what camera body you go to, as long as it's Sony E-mount, you're gonna be able to use them along the way. So don't spend too much money, don't blow your budget on buying a brand new camera, get something used. If I was starting out right now in 2025, I probably would pick up a A7 III. You can find one of those pretty cheap on sites like eBay. Maybe you could even look at Facebook Marketplace. Just off the top of my head, that's probably one of the camera models I would look at, but there's a ton of choices. I would recommend just going to like a store or a camera shop, playing around with a few cameras. If you got some photographer friends, see if you can use their cameras and just get a feel for what you like. Second thing I would do is find a niche. When I started out, I did a little bit of everything and I didn't know any better. I was photographing people, I was photographing cars, I was playing around with like landscape photography. Now some of that was just to learn the basics, but I was also marketing myself for this. Now I would recommend against that. I would find a niche and stick with that. For example, if you like shooting cars, I would have a portfolio of just all type of cars, old schools, regular cars, luxury cars, whatever. I would be known for the guy that can photograph cars. Now you got to be careful with that because you might have a passion to do landscape or let's say macro shots of insects. That might be your passion and you might be really good at it. Now you got to be realistic. It's going to be really hard to make a career out of that. How many jobs are going to book you to photograph macro shots of an insect? You might want to leave that as a hobby and focus on a niche where you can actually generate income. Now my niche I would say is portraits, but you can even dig deeper with that because portraits is just like a big umbrella. Portraits could break down to be a headshot specialist, photographing commercial clients. So even under the umbrella of portrait photography, you can narrow that down and pinpoint a specific thing and be known for that in your area. The next thing we're going to talk about is I would just focus on learning photography, learning my camera, whatever camera it is that you decide to pick up. Learn the basics of photography, learn lighting, learn natural lighting, learn how to use strobes, learn how to compose an image, composition, ISO, shutter speed. Just learn what you need to know to be a great photographer. If you're hopping on YouTube and you're spending all your time looking at the newest camera, the gear, the new lenses, anytime that you're using to research irrelevant stuff like that, put that time into learning your craft. Once you learn that, that's something that nobody can ever take away from you. Doesn't matter what camera you get, you're gonna be able to use that camera to its maximum capacity. Grab your camera, go outside, shoot. Learn how to read light. Go outside and shoot different times of the day. Go out in the morning, go out in the midday, go out during sunset. Just learn those aspects. That's gonna be way more important than knowing the newest camera or worrying about gear. Next, I would build an online presence. Now this is way more important today than it was when I started out. I would jump on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. At least pick 2 of those and just go crazy. I would be documenting my journey from day one, going forward. That's something that I wish I would have done in my own career when I started. Let's say you choose to be a family photographer. If you're constantly posting work, you're constantly posting behind the scenes, your website is just immaculate. When people in your area think about family photos, they're gonna think about you before they think about the next guy that might be doing photography, because you're always in their face or they're hearing your name. So I would definitely double down and just make sure I'm posting something every day or at least multiple times a week. Just bombard the internet with your work and set you up a nice website as well. The next thing I would focus on is marketing. I don't care whether it's an online course, reading a book, or signing up for a course at a community college. It doesn't matter. I would focus on learning marketing. That's one of the most important things that you could do with any type of business. It doesn't matter whether it's photography or not. That's actually a skill that I'm actively working on myself, is just becoming a better marketer. I signed up for a course about a month ago. If you can master marketing, I mean, the sky's the limit. Throughout the years of me doing this, I have seen photographers that weren't the best. And there's no shade on them, but I mean, just honestly speaking, they weren't the best photographers, but they were excellent marketers, and they outbooked me and other photographers that I knew that were great. So that right there is an example of why you should really learn to market. Now, of course, you want to be a good photographer. So like I said earlier, work on your craft. But the truth is, you can be a mediocre photographer and a great marketer and find wild success, but you cannot be a great photographer and a mediocre marketer and find success. Sadly, that just doesn't happen. And the last thing I would do as a photographer starting out in 2025 is I would find a community of other creators, other photographers. I would link up with them, go out, do shoots. It's even better if you can find some seasoned photographers. That's gonna speed up your knowledge in all aspects of the business, whether that's skill, how to market yourself, how to run the business. And outside of all of that, it's just very inspiring to be around like-minded individuals as well. I run a photography rental studio, so I'm constantly around new photographers, seasoned photographers, and we're always getting in conversation. I look at all the information that I just provide to a lot of the people that rent my space. The majority of the people that come here are new. Like, they may have been doing photography for like a year or so, and I give them so much game. Like recently, I actually had a girl come in here. We had a long conversation a few months ago, and she was trying to find out how to get more business. She's a pretty decent photographer, and I told her to focus on weddings. This happened maybe around October of last year, and she came in about 2 weeks ago, and she was like, hey, I got my first wedding. I did what you said, and I think she said she's charging them like $1,500. She's only been doing photography for like a year and a half. She was ecstatic because mainly she was just shooting other college students. She's not making a lot of money doing that. She's kind of wanting to make more income. So I told her about the weddings, and she followed what I said, and she got a $1,500 wedding. That's what I'm saying. Just build you a community. It's all just that connectivity, that like-mindedness is gonna help you learn way faster than if you do everything on your own. Me, I was a lone wolf when I started out. I didn't talk to anybody, and it's just, I don't feel like it was the same community back then as it is now. Now we have all these YouTube channels talking about photography, and there's Facebook groups where people are doing like meetups. I didn't see all that stuff starting out, so I kind of learned everything on my own. Two of my good friends are in the industry, and outside of them, I didn't really talk to anybody else until a few years ago, when I kind of got out of my shell and just forced myself to meet people. So those are the things that I would do if I was starting out as a photographer in 2025. If you made it this far, go down to the comments and put 2025 just to let me know how many people tuned in for this whole duration. Other than that, if you found value, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.